Visitor numbers at Windsor Castle have soared in the past year as people flock there to pay their respects at the grave of Elizabeth II. Entry to St George's Chapel, where Her late Majesty is buried alongside husband Prince Philip, and her parents, George VI and Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, is included as part of the castle tour. Since her burial there, following her funeral and committal on September 19, people have come from all over the world to pay tribute. According to clergy, visitor queues often snake alongside the length of St George's as people wait to enter the chapel. One minister said, "It is extraordinarily moving. Some people kneel, others pray, some weep quietly. It is rather like a pilgrimage." The draw of the late Queen's resting place has had a remarkable impact on visitor numbers, with nearly 1 million people touring the castle in the past year. Utterly ridiculous tourists slam random opening times for Windsor Castle that is more than 3 times as many as visited Buckingham Palace, according to the Royal Collection Trust's annual report. Although separate figures are not kept for St George's Chapel, the Trust is clear a substantial numbers show a link with the Queen's burial. The Trust's director, Tim Knox, wrote in the report, "Visitor numbers at Windsor Castle were notably high as members of the public came to pay their respects to Her late Majesty at her final resting place within St George's Chapel." While the majority have paid £28 each to gain entry to the castle and the chapel, others see the Queen's grave when they attend services, such as evensong. That means numbers may be even higher than the Royal Collection Trust's figures indicate. Visitors have taken to social media to express their joy at seeing the castle and the final resting place of Queen Elizabeth. Don't miss. The 4 royal residences King Charles is eyeing up for staff cuts. News, Boris outlines Queen's amusing one-word response to his fear dream about her. Insight, royal family less relevant as vast majority of Americans miss Queen Elizabeth. Exclusive, John from the UK was one of many who shared their moving experience. He said on TripAdvisor, "For me, this was an incredible experience. To have toured the Queen's favourite home, to stand in St George's Chapel and to be within a few feet of our Queen's burial chamber was overwhelming." Chrissy Williams wrote, "Seeing the Queen's resting place was sad and humbling." Sharon Little added, "Seeing the Queen's final resting place in St George's Chapel was emotional and the chapel was glorious." The Queen's grave is within the small George VI Memorial Chapel, part of St George's. It is marked by a simple stone slab, which says Elizabeth II, 1926 to 2022, and the names of her parents and Prince Philip are carved on it. Alongside is another stone that commemorates her beloved sister Princess Margaret, who died in 2002 and whose ashes are interred there. The Queen was buried at a private ceremony for her family only following the public funeral at Westminster Abbey and committal service in St George's. The remains of Edward IV, Henry VI, Henry VIII and his third wife Jane Seymour, Charles I, who was beheaded, George III, George IV, William IV, Edward VII and George V are also buried in St George's Chapel. Windsor Castle will be open on the anniversary of Elizabeth II's death this Friday. The King will mark the day of his mother's passing privately at Balmoral. The woman who was known around the world simply as the Queen is as popular in death as she was in life.